So, welcome, Sally Reid, special guest creator of the quantum reset technique. Is that right? How I said it?
Yeah, that's a quantum. Yeah.
I didn't spell it well, but is it, what exactly do you mean by that? Quantum.
Well, what I do is I help people discover their energy blocks. And remember,
Okay.
everything is energy. So you can have blocks to business, blocks to relationships, blocks to health, blocks to anything, and everything is energy. And it usually starts somewhere in space and time.
Yeah.
And in order to track both space and time, you have to do it at the quantum level.
Okay.
And things have to be healed in the moment. So I'll track wherever it is in space.
Mm-hmm.
And the space, I mean, is in your physical space or the space that is attached to you.
Yeah.
It could be your business, your car, whatever it is that is not working well with you.
Okay.
And then I go through in time, and time's a construct, but the human body tracks time.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to use the human body's ability to track time. And then I discover where the thing is and just change it somehow. I don't know how. I just change it.
So would you say that this energetic field, quantum field, you can change it by feeling intent, but by feeling also differently, no? That having a different feeling or different energy output. It's like you have an input and output. You put in the energy, and then you release it, no? Or how would you explain it?
I transmute it.
Okay.
So remember, energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only be shifted. And so it can be shifted between multiple universes. It can be shifted into different, how I see it is a stratified layer sometimes.
Okay.
I see, it's really funny. It's like I'll see a whole stratified layer of things that belong, and then one thing that glaringly doesn't belong. Okay. And so that's how I can see it. It's like, it's like a petunia in the middle, of a desert. Okay. It just shows up.
Yeah.
And other times, like if it's inherited, I can trace it back through the lineage and see the person that originated with the issue. Because as you know, through our genetic code, we can pass along information like that. Yeah. And so I can find it all the way, wherever it is, in space and time.
Okay. But I always say in the spiritual world, there is no such thing as time. So right. everything happens at the same moment, no?
Which is why I have access to it. It's all now.
Exactly.
But the human body tracks time. Okay. So that's why we call it time.
Yeah.
But there is no time because it's all now. Yeah. But since the human body has a concept of time, remember we had to create that as we get older and things change and people grow or that kind of thing. So I use your cellular innateness to use for time.
Okay.
That's how it works. But then I have access to it because it's all now.
Yeah. But for someone who is not into that, how could you explain that? Like, for example, the movie Matrix, we always use that.
Is it they get it indication?
Wrong too. Okay. Would that be a bit of indication that someone could relate to, or?
Yes, you can use that. Okay. If all things are possible, the only construct you have is that in your mind. Yeah. And that's a big leap to get through. So that's why I use the construct that the human body already understands. We all agree that there is such a concept of time. Yeah. And we all agree that there's such a construct as pain or no pain. Because at the true quantum level, it's literally an is or an is not. Okay. There's no judgment, there's no change, it's either there or it isn't. It's either an is or an is not. It's you would use Schrodinger's cat actually to prove it. Yeah.
But the most important aspect is that we are living in the now, no? in the present, not in the past, not in the future. So out of that, we create.
It's the result. Yeah, I would say that's the result of it, of the treatment, because no human is capable of living in the now. It just doesn't happen. We're not capable of it.
Yeah, because our minds wander off. No, we are either in the past or we are in the future. But we're never here in the present because
Well,
of
you
our.
have to consider that we carry around in us records of the past all the time.
Okay.
And creation of the future in our cells. Every cell has to replicate itself.
Yeah.
Remember, we're completely changed.
Yeah.
So that's the future. Yet it has to keep the records of the past, which is in the DNA.
So
And
yeah.
so that's why the human just it fit. The trick is it's funny, you live in your moment card the second you die, because that's when you get to live in the moment. It's right after you're dead.
Oh, okay. Could you specify that a bit? Like, what do you mean by that? Like,
Well, you know how everybody's working so hard at being enlightened and letting go of their ego and living in the now and being present and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Everybody works really, really hard at that. And so many spiritual people spend hours and hours in sitting meditation to achieve that sense of oneness and balance.
Yeah.
But literally 1001, 1002, it's a gift that's given to you the second you leave your body. And just in my personal opinion, the people who are working so hard at this thing to get into the spirit and saying that's the way you should live, and I don't like using the word should, those are the people who aren't fully embracing the physical, because this physical thing is a whole nother, it's a thing. And then there's the spirit thing. So I believe in balance. You spend balance in spirit and you spend balance in physical, because this is the good part. This is where we get to eat, creme brulee, and we get to drink wine, and we don't get to do that when we don't have a body.
Yeah, that's true. But would you agree that we all have a mission on this planet? Like, we all are on different paths. We all have something to learn, our lesson to learn. That's why I think.
Yeah, we do. There's two things. There's a purpose, and then there's an intent. Right? Humans are given gifts and things, which I think is hilarious. The things that you find the easiest are the things that you discount, which I think is the most hilarious. That's the most ironic thing. But those are our gifts, the things we find effortless. And when we discover our purpose, it's not necessarily our vocation, nor is it the lessons we're here to learn. So it can be two different things. So, like, my purpose is to heal the people and tell the truth. And that's what I do. But the lessons I had to learn are very different than the purpose.
That's true. Yeah. Purpose is one thing and lesson is another. But I think if you're not aligned with your purpose, then you haven't learned your lesson also. Or I would say,
if you're not aligned with your purpose, then it's like driving off the road.
Exactly.
It's like it's like driving in the rocks and instead of driving on the paved road. You can still you're still going in that direction. You're still living the physical. It's just not very fun.
But it's like a GPS. If you don't put the coordinates, you never arrive. So if you don't live on purpose, if you don't go with the GPS or whatever is for you meant to happen or do in this lifetime or the life we are living here, then you're off track, like you said.
But you can also, the thing is the GPS changes. You know how, like, when you're scheduling your GPS and then you decide, oh, I have to add a stop or I have to add a new destination at the end. Things like that happen in a lifetime because as humans, we have gifts of having really, really long lives, relatively speaking. We do. And there are some of us who have access to past lives and we know what we learned in the previous lives. And there are some of us who have died and there are some of us who haven't. But the thing is it is possible to shift the vocation, the purpose. Say, check, I've done all these things. Okay, what's next? It's just like if your boss had handed you a to-do list and you've done all this and now you go, okay, I'm free. What do I do?
Exactly.
And so you can add more to it. And that does happen.
Yeah. And I saw also when you mentioned that how to like quit overthinking, and then get back into your body, or stop guessing yourself. I mean, that's a point which is very important actually, because
Oh gosh.
we are all living in fear, especially during these times,
Yeah.
and if you second guess your body or what it can do for you, then they don't understand really what capabilities you have, or possibilities you have inside of you.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
What's interesting is in America, we have a lot of reality shows,
yeah,
and they are always going to show people wanting something, working hard to get something, right? That's what the reality show is about. And then they'll say, oh, they'll show a person talking to the camera going, I don't know if I can, I'm doubting myself, I'm second guessing myself. And then immediately after that, they show them failing.
yeah,
And they don't realize that whoever is second guessing themselves has basically invited failure into their possibilities. Because remember, we're creating our reality as we go. And so you are creating success if you believe in success. And if you fail, it's a surprise, but then it's not really, because it's a learning thing. And then you get to try it again. Oh, I figured out one way not to do it. Now I get to try it again.
yeah,
But if you sit there and doubt, then you're inviting the universe to give you what you want. You just ordered failure, or you just ordered, like, what about a man who is jealous of his wife and expects her to be cheating on him all the time, or vice versa? A jealous partner. You create the infidelity in the other partner by the constant abuse. You get that? You see how that works? And so the self-doubt is creating the problem. Your thoughts are creating a reality. So you might as well, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So you might as well make it go your way.
Yeah. Especially because we are all mirrors to each other. We all mirror each other. So what I realized also from my side is that having my past relationships, that you have to love yourself. There is no other aspect. There is no one there going to save you actually out of that. If you don't learn to do that, to love yourself, then you will always attract all of these aspects or partners which don't love themselves also. So that's a major aspect we have to learn also for all of us on this planet.
You're right. In your relationship, you always are with the person that you believe you deserve, or you believe is your other half. Now, I've been lucky enough to have been married for 33 years, and I have known my husband for 45 years.
Wow.
I can't believe
That's
that.
wonderful.
That's amazing.
That's wonderful.
And we've grown. We've grown. When we first started out our relationships, neither one of us loved ourselves.
Okay.
But we bounced. We both had unconditional love for the other.
Okay.
Was the difference. There was no, that's the thing, is if you don't love yourself and then you give conditional love to somebody else, then there's no filling the gaps. We basically filled each other's gaps until we learned that loving ourselves was okay.
Yeah.
And whereas if you don't love yourself, or you have a quote unquote gap somewhere, and the person that you're mirroring, triggers that in you, and you give conditional love, like, I will only love you when, or I stop loving you when you do this. Then you are reinforcing the gaps. And we were just lucky enough to love the partner unconditionally. Like, he loves me unconditionally and I love him unconditionally. And over time, we were able to graduate past, we were like filling up the layers of love, and we graduated past the problems. I don't know how it works, but it does.
That's so wonderful. I mean, that would be the best case scenario, to have a partner where you can grow together, And even in the beginning, where you had these challenges to grow together, you know, to show each one unconditional love from both sides. You know? That's the best.
Well, even though we personally didn't unconditionally love ourselves, that was the trick. We didn't unconditionally love ourselves. And remember, the one thing you're always searching for is a thing that you don't have for yourself, right?
Yeah.
In a partner. I knew what unconditional love was, and I was able to give it to him. And he knew what unconditional love was, and he was able to give it to me, yet not himself. And that was the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah.
So we were constantly picking each other up, you know, when we would get down. It was like, okay, come on, it's time to you get up. And thank goodness we were never on the same cycle, because if we were both down at the same time, I can't imagine what would happen. But we spent, oh gosh, probably the first 10 years of our marriage picking each other up.
Yeah. But that's also nice, because you know that you can help each other. You know that you are both on the same level, on the same aspect that you want to grow together. I mean,
we took the promise seriously, is what it was. You know, the promise.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's not for everybody. That's why I say each one has their own lesson to learn. And from my side, I always tried to do my best, but I knew that I had to work a lot on myself. That's why I didn't have the partner where I could do all of these aspects, because otherwise, maybe I wouldn't learn the lesson, or maybe after a certain time of, you know, being together, I would just let go of all this, where I had to really grow out of that, you know, to love myself and all that. Maybe I would have let go, and then my partner would have left me, and then I would be miserable again, and I wouldn't have learned anything. So
what I'm seeing for you, actually, it's more about trusting the partner with the squishy bits, the soft and tender bits.
Yes.
And what happens with your partner when you go, okay, that's no more. When you don't trust them, then they begin not to trust you. Remember, you're going to reflect what you get. Exactly. A person always gives back what they receive, which is why our giving each other unconditional love helped.
Yeah.
But with the trust issues, you know, oop, mine, oop, it's like that. Then what happens is they begin to mistrust themselves. And when they start mistrusting them, you know, like maybe I wasn't right about them. And then the whole thing just goes apart.
Goes apart. That's true.
So the best way to counteract that, believe it or not, is to let go of, because it's the ego that's you're doing the protecting, right? Remember that.
Yeah.
The ego is so terrified about looking bad or being hurt. But again, and that's the ego that starts the self-doubt, by the way. So the best way to deal with that is you talk back to it, you know, and you go, hey, but I really want this. And you never want to ask why, because that goes in your brain.
Yeah.
You simply ask, how can we get past this? How can we discover a different way? If I were to look at this situation differently, how would I see it from someone else's eyes? Or how will I see it from an outsider's eyes? So you never see your own stuff.
True.
You just can't. I mean, you can, but you have to bilocate, and that's hard to do.
But it has also to do with your inner child, no? Like the inner child needs some tenderness, and you know, like come here, you know, like some cuddling, and if you don't
do that then, for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You just have to approve.
Yeah.
I was working with a client today, and she's miserable, frankly, just miserable. And here's what's going on with her. She believes that she was put on this earth to serve others, right? As many people are. Like, I am here to help people. But she's taken it to the step where she has stopped seeing where she ends and other people begin. And she begins to just, you know, an open book, take everything from me. So there's nothing left from me. And that's another very, very common problem that people have. And then they begin, they're out of energy, so they second guess themselves. They self-doubt them. They do that. So there's the not trusting themselves or trusting others. There's the believing that you're here to serve everyone else and you're not allowed anything for yourself. And you're right, all of this is learned from being children. We learn all these patterns when we're children.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is it's not really loving your inner child. It's more like letting your inner child out of jail.
Yeah.
Because your brain is paid to keep you safe, right? That's just what it does. It's paid to keep you alive, and it's paid to keep you safe. Yeah. And so the first thing it does is create all these rules.
Yeah.
When this happens, then this has to happen. When you see this, then do this.
Yeah.
And these were all made up by a child under the age of 7. Every single one of our rules.
Yeah.
So the best way to deal with that in our inner child is say, wow, do I really believe that? Is this who I really am? Because you do this knee jerk. You don't notice. You go, ooh, is this me? Is this right? And if it's not, then you say, I'm so sorry. You ask forgiveness of yourself and say, I give you permission to change that. I give you, it's so much about those words of permission and questioning.
Yeah.
And you question in your heart, is this something that's true for me? Does this really feel right? Because you know how you yell at yourself? I stopped one day. I used to yell at myself terribly.
Yeah.
I stopped one day. I heard myself say something terrible to myself, right? And I stopped and I went, do you really believe that? And in my heart of hearts, I knew it was wrong. And then I started that, oh, please, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And you give yourself the grace to stop. Because remember, nobody can give you any of this. It has to come from you.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
People can't figure out, is they're expecting it all to come from the outside.
Yeah.
It has to come from the inside out.
Let me ask you, when you do this quantum reset technique, how, or could you explain a little bit how can you help someone who has this kind of issues, like overthinking or not being with themselves? How can you how do you use that technique on others?
All right. Well, first thing I do is I connect with, I'm clairaudient. And so what I do is I ask the person, what is it you have and don't want, or want and don't have? Tell me what your issue is. Why are we together? Essentially, that's how I start everything. And they'll begin to tell a story. And I'll be able to trace through the vibration of their words where this truth is. It's the coolest thing. It really is cool.
Wow.
So through the vibration of the words, I can trace where it is.
Okay.
And then I'll mark it like a pin. Whoop, there it is. There it is. There it is. Just mark it like a pin in space and time. And then I'll give them the root truth. And usually if it's correct, they'll get a shock like, oh, because truth is hard to hear. You know that. And women frequently cry, and some men cry too. And then I ask them what kind of permissions they're going to give. Like, how far do you want to go? And because this has to be a partnership with the person, because your energy is shifting, it's changing. And so this next part is kind of fuzzy. I don't know how I do it, but I see where the markers are. And with my intent, and it's literally through heart energy, it's through grace, I heal using the same energy that Jesus used to heal. And I don't mean this being blasphemous. It's literally God's energy, God's love that does it.
Yeah.
And these things change. And sometimes people feel physical pain, or they feel faint, or they feel dizzy. Sometimes they pass out. And then something changes. And we don't know what it is, and we don't know why it is, and it's not up to us because this is the force that we don't understand.
Yeah.
But it's the force that all people have access to. It's the force that people call grace, right?
Okay. Yeah, I see. So if you like, just for as an example, you said you're a clairaudient, you know? With what I'm saying, or what with my expression, what would you say, just to test to see what would you say about me? What can you say about
So your issue, you have an issue you'd like to solve. Well, first you have to let everybody know what it is. What's the issue you'd like to solve, like to change? And what I'm seeing just from what you've talked around when you're with your voice vibration is there's pain around your heart. There's a lot of it. And I just got a message, don't open that thing up.
Okay.
It would be inappropriate for me to open it up in a public situation like this. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Good to know.
But here's what they're going to give you: some next best steps. These are my guides that are talking.
Okay.
Next best step for you would be to give yourself baby steps away from focusing what's wrong, and begin to celebrate baby steps on focusing what's right. And understand all goodness starts here. All goodness starts here.
From inside, from the heart.
From your center, from your core, from your heart, from your breath. That's just it. And nobody can make you feel any way. It's impossible. Their presence will elicit a feeling within you, but they didn't make you. You gave them permission to do that. And so that's the level that the guides are saying for you to start, is to understand where your permission lies. And when you're waiting for your goodness to, because that's another thing. You wait. They say you wait for goodness. You don't. I don't know what they do. You understand what I mean by waiting for the goodness to come?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and they say that it's not required. You don't have to wait.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've done a lot of things. You know, I worked a lot on myself, and I would say it was not quite an easy, trip or path I had. But I know that I had to go through all of this in order to become who I really am, to open up to who I should really be. But that takes some steps, like you said. You know, it takes time, and for me, it was difficult to open up. I admit that, but I am sure that I'm being taken care of. So whatever I feel that, or whatever I feel I have to do, I will do it. But I let go of thinking of, oh, what should I have to do. I think it will come when the time is right. So
it will.
But yeah, getting back to the thanks for doing that.
Sure.
Getting back to the quantum reset technique. What exactly? When you say, like, you can stop overthinking, or you have a breathing technique.
I've got some quick hacks that we can teach the people for not overthinking.
Yeah.
And one of them is ancient.
Okay.
It's very ancient. Alternate nostril breathing. Are you familiar?
Yes. No, I'm not 100% sure. Okay.
So alternate, here, I'll take off my glasses. Alternate nostril breathing is where you take your fingers on the third eye.
Yeah.
And you have a thumb and a finger. I have to do it with my eyes closed. I'm sorry, because I concentrate.
Yeah.
And you breathe in through your nose, exhale through your nose, and close one nostril. I usually use my thumb. Breathe in, change, exhale, breathe in, change, exhale. And you continue doing that by alternate nostril breathing. You breathe in, change, exhale. Breathe in, change, exhale. That's your rhythm. You do that for a period of 3 minutes. It completely turns your mind off. Because it stimulates, and this is ancient. I mean, this is developed thousands of years ago. Because clearly overthinking isn't a modern thing. So what it is doing, it stimulates the pineal gland.
Yeah.
But it also stimulates opposite sides. So you're going ting, ting, ting with your brain. Boom, boom. You're activating one side, then the other. And it's like, you know how balancing the hemispheres, there's other eye exercises and stuff like that that will help you. Alternate nostril breathing does that. And it just quiets your mind down. It works every time. You just need to continue doing that long enough. That's the quickest one, and it's ancient.
So you
one of my favorite ways to stop overthinking is, and I mean, this is going to sound really funny, but you get your best parent voice on and you go, "Hey, what are you doing?" Just like that. It works. Or you say, "Hey, how is this helping?" And just, it kicks you right back into the present sense. Just present right here.
That sounds good.
So those are my two favorite ways, and they're simple, they're easy. Anybody can do them.
So on a daily basis, you mean? Or
yeah,
on a regular basis?
If you do alternate nostril breathing every single day. In fact, if you're having problems connecting and quieting your mind, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar and the Art of Living have an amazing program that's available online anywhere in the world. He's based in it's northeast of Mumbai. Doesn't matter where he's based. They have chapters all over the world. They have a big ashram in Boone, North Carolina, but they have places everywhere in the world, and they have instructors all over the world. And he has a program called Art of Living. That's a basic program that teaches you how to connect your brain and your breath and your body and your mind and your breath into a circle. And it's a weekend and it's inexpensive. And you're done. And I highly recommend it for people learning. I highly do.
I followed since many years the teachings of the gurus, I would say, and I love all of them. And I do especially also breathing techniques and for meditations and everything. But
they work.
It works, it really works, and it's really good. But this technique also stops our thinking, no? Actually, if you do that.
Specifically for the mind, yes. For the mind. That is designed specifically for the mind.
So
alternate nostril breathing, I highly recommend it.
To stop overthinking.
Yes. Now there are there is something called the Silva, SILVA method.
Yeah, I heard of that. Silva method.
Yeah, Jose Silva invented it back in the 70s. I remember it was a big deal because I'm that old. And so he has a pretty simple technique where over time you practice. It's basically alternate nostril breathing and relaxing, and you teach your mind to be quiet. But you set it on command. So you're going to relax your body, you're going to relax your mind, you're going to get to a meditative state, and you're going to get it on the 3-2-1 command. Like you'll say the number 3, until you start feeling the same feeling you have just after alternate nostril breathing.
Yeah.
And then you're going to say the number 2 several times until you get the feeling of peace and quiet.
Okay.
And stillness.
Yeah.
And then you say the number 1 and your brain. I used to I had myself so trained that I could say 3, 2, 1 like that. And I hit number 1 and I go silent.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, oh, wake up. Because it's just training. Just like you train a puppy to sit, with a cookie.
Yeah.
You can train your brain with the 3, 2, 1 method. And Jose Silva invented that.
Okay.
And it works really well.
Yeah. They can look that up also. No? I mean, there is this method. There is this Silva method. They can
look that up.
Look that up.
His daughter has continued it.
Okay.
And she teaches it, and I think she sells little online programs that you can buy to learn the Silva method.
Yeah.
And she has recordings. But essentially, you've taught your mind to be quiet on command. But first you have to teach your mind to be quiet. And then you add, it's just like first you have to teach your puppy what sit means. And then when you say sit, then they'll sit down. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So you're teaching your brain to go sit, stay.
But it's all about the practice, no? The more you practice it, the more you have it, the more you have it as a habit, the more the mind takes it over. So it's a habit.
Everything we do is a habit. Yeah. Think about this. What if you had to relearn everything in your life? What if every time you were presented with a doorknob, you had to solve the problem of a doorknob?
Yeah.
So our brain is going to create habits and shortcuts and everything where we can do things unconsciously. And that is by repetition. Always.
Yeah.
Always. How many times have we touched a doorknob in our lives? We know exactly what to do with it.
Yeah.
How many times have we overthought? We know exactly how to do that.
Yeah. True.
And so by using those 2 simple things, first catching yourself at it and saying, what are you doing? Or how is this helping? I used to laugh at myself when I catch myself. I'd be doing the dishes, or something, mindless. My brain would be, and you just catch yourself and you can stop yourself.
Yeah.
And then the practicing over and over again with the Silva method is very helpful. Or Sri Ravi Shankar's Art of Living, which is a longer daily meditation. It takes about 20 minutes that you practice every day. And it just maintain chill. That's what it's about.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, if you want to open your third eye, there are also techniques not to do that. No? There are many ways to do it.
Some people are ready, some people are not.
In which sense? How you mean that?
Well, our third eye is always open, but we have the receivers off. I mean, we have they have it turned down.
Yeah.
And so there technically are no senses off in our body. We simply have them off in our brain.
Okay.
They're on.
Yeah.
Think about this. Whenever you're super depressed, you still can cut your finger and bleed and notice that you're in pain, right?
Yeah.
So you haven't stopped the feelers. You just have stopped receiving the information.
Yeah.
And it's in your mind. And you created those rules. And that's what's hard.
Yeah.
Because at some point in your life, you decided it was safer not to receive. So you have back in your subconscious mind, we don't do that.
Yeah.
And that's how you get the resistance.
Okay.
That's exactly what resistance is. It's your subconscious going, we don't do that. And your frontal cortex going, but yeah, we do. And then back here going, no, we don't. And you can't even remember what it is. Actually, that's why a quantum reset works really well, because I can access that stuff.
Okay.
And knock it out of the way, and all of a sudden it's effortless. I've done it with myself, and you're like, wait a minute, it's not hard anymore. What happened?
So you would connect with the energy of the person, and then you would resolve this issue, or how would it work if you would do that?
Pretty much anything that's energetic can be resolved. So here's some examples of some results that my clients have gotten.
Yeah.
I was working with a woman in Dubai who worked for an international bank, an investment bank, who are notorious for overworking their people, right? 18, 20 hours a day, work.
What? Really?
And she was exhausted. She was wealthy, but exhausted, because you make a lot of money doing that, but they expect a lot. And when I first met her, she was numb. Remember, she had everything turned off. She wasn't, all the emotions were coming in. She just wasn't feeling them, and they were getting stuck inside of her. That happens too. But by the end of our time together, which was just 3 months, her goal is she wanted to be able to leave her job, find a new job. She wanted to be able to feel joy and happiness again, because she was feeling nothing. She wasn't feeling bad, but you can't feel good when you don't feel bad either. You feel nothing. That's numb. That's what tranquilizers do, by the way. You can't feel happy or sad. You just feel. And so she wanted to be able to feel. She wanted to be able to know what made her happy and what didn't make her happy. And she wanted to meet someone and have a relationship and get married. And I'm seriously, I worked with her for 3 months, and then we had one more session after that. She's now married. It happened within 6 months of our first session.
Really?
Really.
Within
New job.
6 months. Okay.
New job. New house. New life.
Yeah.
New everything. Her whole entire everything changed when she thought she was impossible to change. And she had tried psychotherapy. It wasn't working. She had tried tapping. She had tried all the things. None of it was working.
Yeah.
And we had 7 sessions.
Okay.
Seriously, 7 sessions.
Why normally how many do you need to resolve that issue?
Well, if you're going into physical therapy, talk therapy, I would think that it would take several years to resolve that.
Really?
Or more. Several years. And she believed, that's the thing, is she believed that none of it could be resolved. Because you think, when you're in the bottom of your hole, you can't see anything but the hole. You can't see any other possibility. And that's what's sad. So it's very helpful to have somebody who not only can see the possibilities, but actually literally energetically connect you with them. And that's what makes the difference. You just boop, boop, and you get connected. And
so she was stuck energetically, like she wouldn't.
Completely stuck. And I was speaking to her brother, because I do life coaching with him. That's how we met, is because I do ongoing life coaching with him. And he told me that he was embarrassed because his sister was so happy,
Really?
Muslim men, sometimes they get embarrassed because their sisters are happy, but you know what I mean.
I understand that. It's funny because when you mentioned that, all of that what you said, I know that I have to do also all of this kind of things, where you mentioned that I'm inside, not broken, but I had a lot of pain. So
yeah,
I know that when listening to that I have experienced many things over the last couple of months, especially, and starting since my breakup from my last relationship, that I realized many things, and I see many things differently, and it makes me wonder, like, I see the whole system, the world differently, and I always strive for making lots of money, being business wise, on top of the top. But then I realized what's really happening, and it makes me, I don't know, feel more, whatever, in this sense. But I didn't lose my how you call it, purpose, or whatever it's meant to be, to what I'm here to do, actually. Like you mentioned before, we serve, we help others. I know that I want to help others, but I also shouldn't be exhausted. I shouldn't be taking, because I'm an empath. I'm an empath. I can feel others' energy also.
It's very
So
exhausting.
it's very exhausting. And
And
I think,
it's very difficult to be able to selectively tune the receivers.
yes,
I mean,
exactly.
that's literally what it is.
Yes.
To be able to tune the receivers and know that kind of a thing. I've gotten over practice. You can imagine with me working with thousands and thousands of people that I'm also a physical empath, so I can physically feel their pain as well.
Yeah.
And so it would kill me if I wasn't able to selectively turn it on and turn it off and turn it on and turn it off. So there was a point in my life where I couldn't leave the house.
Really?
I was too bombarded with. I would get physically ill every time I left the house. It was just too much.
Okay. And how did
So
you?
yeah, it's possible to learn to turn it off.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, it was very different in the sense of matter that I had to, you know, I had to let go of people which didn't do me good. First of all, I had to let
It's
go of,
sad.
yeah, they were there to teach me something that's good, but I always had to learn to let go, you know. And
Here's a way to help learn to let go.
yeah.
I like to consider people in my life as teachers, all of them. Every person is a teacher.
Exactly.
And if there's somebody in your life who hurts you, then it's not that you're letting go of them. You're just not giving them permission to hurt you anymore.
Yeah.
And when you stop giving them permission, they leave on their own because you're no fun anymore.
Yeah.
My very own sister was one of those people.
Oh, really? You had to let go?
No, I just stopped giving her permission to hurt me.
Okay.
And when that happened, she stopped wanting to talk to me. I'm sorry to laugh because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
But these things happen.
But I think,
We have to reiterate, just because they're your family and your blood, you don't have to pour your heart out and allow them to be cruel to you.
yeah. But
And you also don't have to be mean either
Mhm.
to get them to stop.
Yeah.
You simply revoke permission. Just, you've heard of the gray rock technique,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Everything that comes at you, it's just, I considered myself to be a pebble dropped in the water, and the water just flowed past me. And after a while, it stopped bothering me. And this is something interesting. When there are open files, it's these people that show us where they are. When we have places in us that need to be healed, it's these people that show us where they are and what it is that needs to be healed.
Yeah.
We don't blame them for hurting us. We thank them for showing us what needs to be healed.
True.
And it's amazing.
Yeah. But regarding, the aspect with family, sister, brothers, parents, actually, if you see it from another perspective, we chose them as a soul. Before we incarnated into this lifetime, they came all together. We were maybe from the same soul family and decided to do this together.
Or maybe not. I mean, not all families are from the same soul group. They come from up. I've traced people, like, oh, you're not in your mother's soul group. No wonder you guys are having such a hard time, that type of thing. So it's possible you're not in the same soul group. But you did have the agreement to come there.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, once you have learned the lesson you need to learn for being there, and I don't mean, you can't hurt me or anything else, but once you have received it, and learning isn't the word, it's not learning, because people can learn stuff all day long and then forget it, and it comes right back.
Yeah.
It's once you have fully incorporated and received the changes, then for some reason, the whole thing just
goes away.
It just goes away. It just goes away. Yeah. There are no problems anymore.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool like that.
Nice.
And like for you, the thing that you're learning in this lifetime. Oh my gosh, I said, do you really want to tell him? I'm like, yeah, he wants to know. So the thing that you're learning is that love comes in lots of different ways. Yeah. Have you noticed how you constantly get that? That's my light. You constantly get that information, like love shows up in so many different ways.
Yeah.
It's not just one way that love shows up.
That's true. Right?
And that's the lesson you're learning. Is see the different stratospheres and like, okay, sometimes there's love like a protective father's love. And he's like screaming at you and telling you what not to do. That's actually protective father love, right?
Yeah.
But it's not love. It doesn't feel like love, but it's actually love.
Yeah. That's true.
You get that? Or there is a mother's shame. That's actually love too, because she's trying to protect you from the pain that she's felt. And the only way she knows how to protect you from it is by giving you the same pain that she got.
But wouldn't you say that we are here, or I am here, to solve that from the DNA, from the families we got over, to resolve that, to not give it forward? You understand?
You're here
what I
to
mean?
Unravel is a better word. It's not really solve it. You're not seeing it. It's, remember, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, right?
Exactly.
So if you're looking at these things as pain instead of love, then they're always going to show up as pain.
Yeah.
But if you see them from another, it's solving the issue of, wow, those people actually did love me. They just weren't sure how to show me what it was, because that's how they learned to show love.
Yeah.
That's how love was shown to them.
Yeah.
So they showed their love the same way to me.
Okay.
That type of thing.
Yeah.
And for you, it's learning all the different aspects of love. And it shows up in lots of different ways for you. Like there's the casual love that a stranger will give you when they do something nice.
Yeah.
Right? But there's also a love of a stranger. Here's another, this is a weird love. There's a love of a stranger who is showing you how frightened they are of you. And you can see that, oh, wow, I don't have to change myself for them, but I also can have compassion. So you get to have them trigger love in you. Because remember, everybody triggers something inside you.
Yeah, true.
So somebody who's is afraid of you or is rude to you, out of fear, or they're having a bad day, then you understand, oh, I can have compassion. I don't have to give them back the same energy. That's another way to show love.
Yeah, true.
It's all about love.
Yeah, I agree with that. But especially, what I learned is that whoever comes into my life, I don't always show them, that I'm grateful, but I can feel that, there's an exchange of energy. And I try to see it more in a positive way. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't matter who comes into my life. If they show they are frightened of me, like you said, they can give me also love, because we are here all to connect. It's no coincidence. There is no coincidence. There's no coincidence. I am here, you are there. I could be anywhere, but I'm here to do something, to elevate maybe the energy of the place where I am, to elevate,
that's true. And
the consciousness.
But you remember, your main purpose on this world is to see love in all things.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why you've been given so many different presentations of what didn't look like love to you.
Yeah.
Do you get
especially for my parents, I can say that.
It's not a coincidence that this discussion came up like that.
Exactly.
Yes. Especially from your parents. But that was their only way of showing you love.
Yeah.
What country were you born in?
In Peru.
Peru. Oh, wow. That is hard love.
Oh, really?
Because they wanted to protect you. Okay, think about Peru's history.
It's Incas, and the Incas.
Right, but think about Yeah, Inca society is good, but think about the Spaniards, think about the diseases, think about all the wars, all the stuff that came through.
Yeah, that's
It's
why.
not all Machu Picchu and beautiful, right? It's not all that.
That's why it's no coincidence I am in Mexico now, in Yucatan, in Chichen Itza, when we're talking now.
Oh, it's pretty there.
Yeah, and we're talking now about this topic, you see. So I never felt coming here, but I knew I had to be here now. So that's why it's
I've actually
interesting.
visited there myself.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, I wanted to hold retreats near there. I want to start holding retreats near there.
Here in the
In
area.
Mexico. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's a very the energy here is, how should I explain? It's very interesting. Very interesting in the aspect that for me
It's old.
Yeah, it's old. Yeah.
It's older than Machu Picchu, actually.
Really? Is it?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, but when you mentioned that, okay.
It is. It's older.
You mean the
Machu
Mayan
Picchu
culture?
is just famous because it was so intact and high, and
Okay. You mean older than the Mayan? The Mayan culture is older than the Incas. Okay. So that's
yeah,
why.
the Mayan culture is older than the Incas, and the Mayan culture was more intellectual.
More intellectual. Okay.
Yeah, they were more spiritual.
And the Incas, they weren't? I thought
The Incas were very spiritual, but they had a lot of their spirit and their world based on protection and fear.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah.
It was the same as the Mayans, but a little bit different because the Mayans incorporated the healing of the earth spirits, using the energy of the earth to call up goodness.
Yeah.
And they used manipulation of water spirit and rock spirit, and they understood the way it all worked, and it was a more love-based society.
Yeah.
And the Incas was more a power-based society.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they were all about who's the big man.
Yeah, but it's no coincidence also that I was born in Peru. My father is Greek, but he was born raised in Egypt, in Cairo. So I didn't mention that I had a past life in ancient Egypt. And when I feel I'm in Egypt or near the pyramids, I feel there's a very high connection there, a dense connection.
You had 3 past lives in Egypt.
But I don't remember. I think it was.
Yeah, you had 3.
Okay. Now
only one was male.
And the other female. Good.
The other 2 were female. Yes.
But I know that I was with the pharaohs. I know that. That was the time.
You were like a scribe or something.
Yeah, or a priest, something like that. I think.
You were inside the good part, not outside working.
Okay.
Yeah, you were inside.
Okay. I enjoyed.
I'm seeing you in there.
Okay. So you see what I've been through. That's good.
Yeah. But you had 3 lives in Egypt. Yeah.
And also Greece.
But you were definitely on the inside.
Yeah, and also Greece. That I have connection with Greece a lot. For me, I feel Greece is my home, in a sense, but.
Why do I hear the word the island Mykonos? Have you been there? Is that part of where your family is from, or is it not?
I'm from
For some reason, you had a past life in that area, near the water, near the sea.
Mykonos is known for a party island, but I never felt attached to Mykonos, to be honest.
Well, it wasn't a party island when you were alive there.
Okay.
Trust me. It was a subsistence fisherman island that didn't like the way they did things on the mainland, and they said, well, okay, well, we're going to do it our way.
You mean in ancient Greece? In the ancient?
Yes. This was a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay. But I still had other past lives in Greece, recent ones, and I think.
Yeah. But the first one that popped up was the one where essentially your family didn't want to be living the Spartan way and
okay. Interesting.
say no. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Is no,
I see.
we're not going to live this way.
Okay. I see. We have
See, you always were looking for love.
That's true. In the sense of, yeah. But I think I found myself now. I think, I've been most of the time, I've been on my own, and I felt actually not in love with myself, but I felt that, in order to attain this soulmate, or I call it twin flame, you have to be ready for that. Huh? That's what we all say. If you're not, then you will not attract this twin flame or soulmate into your life. No?
I wouldn't put rules on it.
Okay.
There's no shoulds or have tos.
I mean, you're the best example. You grew together. I would have loved to have this experience, but.
And he's my twin flame. He's my other half, and we knew it the minute we saw each other. And interestingly enough, this is why you don't want to put rules on it. He was my best friend's boyfriend at the time when I met him.
Okay, I see.
And you know girl code.
Yeah, now I understand. Okay. Yeah.
Which is why I knew him for so much longer than we were married.
Okay. But you felt there was a connection always. You knew that there was.
Oh, he did too. Yeah. But then he couldn't look at his girlfriend's best friend. That's a no-no.
A no-go, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I have this experience also sooner or later, but let's see when it will show up.
Just ask. If this is what you choose, ask. Remember?
You mean benevolent. Ask the universe, ask my higher self.
Ask anything. Mm-hmm. You know how I got this relationship?
How?
When I was 15.
Okay.
Several of my girlfriends and I were standing around before school.
Okay.
And as girls do, we talk about who we're going to marry. When we were 15.
Okay.
And I said, I don't know about when I'm going to get married, but I do know that my husband will love me as much as my dog. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I said. Okay. I want a man who loves me as much as my dog. So I called for unconditional love.
Mm-hmm. That's what
I called for, because that's what dogs give, is unconditional love, right?
Yeah, that's why I understand myself.
And he does.
That's wonderful.
And I love him back.
Yeah. That's why I get along well with dogs, especially with Labradors. I love Labradors. I grew up with them.
Yes.
Because I know they
great
give
dogs.
You love. They give you unconditional love no matter what. And I sometimes, I can be a little bit not bad to them, but I know they wouldn't be bad to me. So, they wouldn't.
So that's what you're looking for in a partner too.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is you've got to give yourself permission to take responsibility for your badness. And eventually it goes away when you start taking responsibility for it. Like we all get in crappy moods and we stomp around. I mean, everybody's human, right? We started out that way.
That's true.
But by taking responsibility for what is your part in this and what's the rest of the world, then you don't stomp around so much. You don't get as, I got terribly crabby at Citibank this morning.
Okay.
But I can.
Yeah. Sometimes I also get annoyed, like I'm Taurus from sign, from the zodiac sign. I can have I'm always, how you call it? I can be calm up to a certain limit, and then when it's over, then I overreact. So sometimes it's not good. I always try to, keep it calm.
Yeah, but you just take responsibility for it. Yeah. So if you are looking for your other half, you just call out what, I would love a partner who sees the best in me and reminds me what that is. Mm-hmm. See how simple?
Maybe I have to set the intention for it.
Yeah, you just set intention and give yourself permission to let it happen. Because the only people who don't have love is the people who don't believe they can have it.
Maybe that was my attitude against that.
You think? I think.
Yeah, I'm sure about that.
Yeah, and now all you have to do is set your intention.
Subconsciously, I have it inside myself. You know that I think I'm not worth of it.
There you go.
So I have to change that.
And you will.
Sally, thank you very much for this wonderful conversation. For our listeners, if they want to get in touch with you, I will put the link, and then they can book a session with you.
Let me pop it in the chat.
Yep. And then I will put it in the recording. Great. Okay.
That's my Beacons page, and so it has all the links on it.
Great. Good. So for you listeners, if you want to quit overthinking or getting back into your body, get second guessing yourself, you should get in touch with Sally.
And you know what else? I want to say that I have a free Facebook class in there. I have free SoundCloud meditations in that link. Okay. And I have, if you sign up for my email list, I send you free stuff every week. So nice. It's not all about you have to pay me something. Okay. I give away a lot in that link as well.
So I will be the first one to subscribe now.
Well, thank you.
No, it was a wonderful conversation I had with you. I really enjoyed it. And, I must admit in the beginning, I wasn't so sure because, energy wise, like I said, I'm an empath. I always have to feel myself into the conversation. But now at the end, I really enjoyed it with you. And like we said, there is no coincidences. And thank you very much for this.
You're quite welcome. And I appreciate the opportunity. And hello to your listeners, and whatever you believe is true. That's all I can say.
Great.
No matter what it is, whatever you believe is true.
So have a wonderful evening. And I hope we will stay in touch anyway. And yeah, thanks.
Enjoy.
Thanks.